Welcome to our February 17th edition of Gold and Black Live. I can't think of a more special guest to tee off the show, and President Mung Chiang will be joining us. I want to thank Triple X on the Hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. Mung is going to be has learned already about the great Purdue traditions. That's one of them there. And of course, State Farm agent Trent Johnson at trentismyagent.com. And Mung, first of all, we're grateful for the time today. You're a very, very busy person. You've been onboarding for a period of time, but now that you're in the seat here in about week number 7, but who's counting for you? Been an interesting experience. What's that been like to take the reins and go full force as the president, Purdue's 13th president of this great university?
Well, thank you very much, Alan, first of all, for inviting me to be on your Gold and Black Live show, and great to be here. Baller up. Now, yeah. I've been really enjoying my time here, serving the entire Boilermaker community. And in particular, always say that the Daniels decade momentum will continue, except Harley Davidson switching to Haagen-Dazs. So
yeah, there you go.
Got a bit of ice cream, I have to tell you this. And it's not all Haagen-Dazs either, all types of brands. Wherever I go, people say, hey, Mung, we heard that you like ice cream, try our ice cream here. Yeah. So I got to do a lot more morning exercises these days to burn that off.
Yeah, you had a chance, and as athletic teams go, you have High Points. Purdue men's basketball has been ranked number 1. The women are making a long run to produce all of the intercollegiate sports. Tough game last night against Maryland, but returning home is always a good thing for Purdue sports team, and there's nothing like that environment in Mackey Arena.
No, absolutely. Mackey is the most exciting arena in the United States. And look, Alan, we respect a good game. We always want to be competitive, and we always want to be in it, win it. But hey, new day, new game.
Yeah. Good. I think that's a good approach. I think Matt Painter will be saying the same thing. I even heard Purdue's freshman point guard Braden Smith basically say that exact same thing after the game. You got to move on. You got to turn the page, and this team will do that. You started your presidency on January 1st, and one of your first things, of course, I think it's a university holiday, but you were at a women's basketball game. You're front and center at these games. What kind of fan are you? I mean, in terms of it, do you wear it on your sleeve? Do you just love to watch? Do you love to have the family there? What kind of fan are you when you're in Ross-Ade Stadium or at Purdue sporting events?
Well, I was delighted to see that on my first day of the new job, January 1 this year, that there was a home game, the women's basketball game there. And we won that game. Yeah. That was fantastic. 1 o'clock after lunch. I brought also my elder daughter with me to watch that game. And we want to be telling everybody what outstanding student athletes we have here at Purdue. And we deeply appreciate the whole staff. In particular, the coaches. Katie has been outstanding in what she's been doing with the team. And we know that we've got not only the football and the men and women basketball teams, but also quite a few other Division I intercollegiate athletic teams too. So I made the pledge to Mike Bobinski that I will be going to at least one game per season for each team. Yeah. In fact, today I'm going to go watch tennis game in the afternoon as well. So for every team of our Boilermaker student athletes, we support them, we appreciate them.
Yeah. Ice cream aside, what kind of are you an exercise person? Do you get a chance to play sports growing up? What's been your background in terms of? I mean, you're a fit-looking guy, so you've got some of that going on. But what's a big part when you talk about on a personal level with respect to athletics?
I don't know about fit-looking guy there. It's probably just the Zoom's photo filter effect.
Maybe so.
But I try to be. Staying fit and doing exercise every morning. I'm not sure if I'm being consistent anymore these days. I do some running. I do some swimming. Sometimes play a bit of basketball or tennis with our kids. And frankly, I think they are tired of me losing to them by now. So I
Yeah.
try to do my fair share.
Yeah. When you have the chance, and change is the new constant. When you come in as a president, there's always change when it comes to that. Nothing is going, at least from a higher ed standpoint, and when you look at the athletics part of this, an unbelievable amount of change that's going on in it right now, from NIL,
Yes,
transfer portal.
yes.
You've got a staff in Mike Babinski and company that run things there. You have a board of trustees that are very engaged. I mean, from certainly from Mike Berghoff to
Mhm.
Mike Klipsch to Gary Lehman to Joanne Briette, they are all front and center athletics folks. But how do you manage that? How do you look at that as you're working into your role as president and dealing with that unprecedented change in the world of college athletics?
Well, Alan, you're right. There's a lot of changes. First of all, just the NIL transfer portal, that's one big change coming. Another is NCAA Division One,
Yeah.
generally speaking, right? And
Yeah.
then, of course, our own conference, Big Ten Conference, is expanding, and that's also changing. And there's going to be a new commissioner as well. So it's always the who before the what,
Yeah.
whether we're talking about athletics or academics or enterprises or government services, who before what. So we have a great AD. I call him the best AD in America, Mike
Uh-huh.
Bobinski. He gets Boilermakers, he gets Purdue's spirit as an outstanding academic institution in the Big Ten, but also extremely competitive athletically. We've got a great board of trustees. They're engaged and they lead with just like our entire teams of coaches and staff and student athletes. They lead with integrity, they lead with competitiveness. So I'm very confident that despite all the changes coming, Purdue will remain the type of institutions that you and our alumni can be very proud of.
Yeah. When you look at now the Big Ten going from 14 to 16 schools, USC and UCLA, two great institutions, AAU institutions as well. And yet your role as president is going to be have a role in hiring that commissioner. What do you look when you look at that? What's going to be important as you replace Kevin Warren in that situation and be able to direct things moving forward? What kind of person do you think best fits that bill? Is there a category or a type that you are personally looking for? Though I know it'll be a group decision.
Well, it will be a group decision by the Big Ten Council of Presidents and Chancellors. There's a search going on. So I won't be able to get into the details of an
Yes,
active
understood.
ongoing search, but I'll tell you that we look forward to a very outstanding new commissioner, and we look forward to Big Ten not only growing bigger, as obviously we are, but also be just the best conference in every way you can measure in the country.
Yeah. When you look at that and you say that, again, unprecedented change when it comes to that, television contracts are a part of this. There's a lot of money that plays in it. And there is in the reality of higher education. You've got to be able to perform at the highest level. Mm-hmm. How do you reconcile that in terms of the financial part, the emphasis that's being placed because you have big television contracts, you have NIL, those kinds of things? How do you reconcile that or keep that within the framework of higher education and the way that you want the student and the student athlete to have an experience when they're at Purdue?
Well, as Mitch said, President Emeritus Daniels always said this, and I will continue exact same philosophy, and that is student athletes are both students and athletes. Yeah. And they will be excellent students and they will be competitive athletes. And as our AD Bobinski can tell you that we are tracking all the NIL and related activities. We want to stay at a competitive level and the activities that's going on elsewhere in other places around the country. We're tracking that. Not everything goes on outside of Purdue is the natural fit to Purdue's DNA. We want to be staying true to our gold and black.
Yeah. When you look at that and you say, that DNA of hard work, which seems to be what a Boilermaker is. Now, how do you define that? I mean, when you think of the word Boilermaker and what that means, how do you put that into words, and maybe as a talking point for even for yourself as you go into work each day? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think, first of all, just generally speaking, Purdue is a very unique place because we create and disseminate and deploy knowledge
Yeah.
at a scale with a quality and affordability that's second to none in the United States. We're proud of that affordability and higher learning at the highest proven value. We're proud of the scale at which we as a public land grant operates, including creating jobs and knowledge and careers and workforce talents together. And we're proud of the quality, excellence at scale, excellence athletically, excellence scholarly, excellence academically, the research and the learning that we do. Now, specifically to student athletes, starting years ago when I first got here, which is right after Bobinski got here as AD, and I was the Dean of Engineering College, we started arranging a spring reception every year for, at that time, engineering student athletes to thank them across all the different teams we had. Thank them for their time management, thank them for their grit and persistence, thank them for being competitive and maintaining the highest level of integrity, and thank them for winning in many cases. And we've got amazing students, including electrical engineering student who's quarterback. We've got industrial engineering student government president as a quarterback. We've got those who played on our men and women basketball teams who are outstanding engineering students, and throughout all the teams. I'll give you one example. A former student, Leonie Beaujou, and she was on the women's basketball team, and she was a biomedical engineering student, won all the awards, Big Ten academic awards. She had a 4.0 GPA, I think, and she is also an outstanding leader, taking initiatives, what's called Wheels Rise. She started here along with other students. It's now become a national move where able-bodied athletes in basketball would sit on wheelchairs to play Paralympics basketball games with the Paralympic teams. And it's eye-opening experience for everyone watching or playing, right? So these are the kind of leader slash students slash athletes that we have here among the Boilermakers.
You know, and that has made a huge impact from that standpoint. And when you look at and you set a new precedent when you started early on, had all the coaches over to Westwood, and that was I think made a very positive impression, at least with a couple of coaches I spoke with in terms of that. But how will you manage? Tell us about your management style. Obviously, as you work into a new job or a new role at the university, people will begin to find that out. But will you, from a management perspective, in terms of athletics, you've talked about Mike Bobinski and the great job he does. What role will you have? Monthly meetings with him? What's your style going to be in terms of how you're going to manage or at least oversee what goes on in athletics?
Well, so first of all, thanks for highlighting that dinner. My wife, Kay, and I hosted for the coaches and Bobinski and his staff at Westwood. And other than, I think, Matt and Katie, the two of them couldn't be there because they are in season and playing. And I think Coach Katie was taking her team to Illinois. And if I'm not mistaken, they went on to win that game.
They won that one. Another ranked team.
Illinois, right before the snowstorm, they had to start going there. So other than Coach Katie and Coach Matt, I think most of the coaches were there, head coaches were there. And the message was very simple. We want to just say thank you, right? Because I know it's not an easy job. Even without those big changes coming to intercollegiate athletics, it's a tough job. For the students, for the coaches, for the staff. You got to be very disciplined. You got to be psychologically and physiologically conditioned all the time. And the students got to handle homework and finals while they handle very competitive schedule, right? So I just
Yeah.
want to tell them how much we appreciate them. It's an essential part of our social fabric
Yeah.
at a university like Purdue, right? And they win. They may not win all the time. We love them. We support them. Our alumni love them and support them. Our neighbors love them and support them, right? So it's really just to tell them how much we appreciate their hard work. Some of them just got here. Some of them have been here for decades, and throughout the spectrum, just to let them know that you mean a lot to us.
Yeah, well said. One thing when your interview with Dave Banger a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was interesting in terms of competitive advantage, almost talking about the term paranoia, but I don't know that you necessarily meant that in terms of always being, always having that little bit of uneasiness as you go into your job, because that keeps you sharp. How is that a management style that how do you internalize, not only externalize that to when you're mentoring students about that philosophy and still keeping yourself positive and moving forward in the direction that you want to move?
Well, I think I was quoting the former CEO of Intel, Andy
Right.
Grove, decades ago, probably 30 years ago, when he said, "Only the paranoid survives." I think it's the title
Yeah.
of his book.
Yeah. Right.
And of course, it's exaggeration for effect.
Yeah.
Only the paranoid survives.
Understood.
But it does, I think, highlight a point, and that is, yes, you want to do the best, one brick higher every day. And yes, you also got to recognize that there are others, other universities, other teams, other research centers. They are trying to do the best they can as well. It's healthy competition, and you don't want to sit back, relax, and be complacent, right? You don't want to sit on the laurels. And Purdue got a great legacy in so many ways, the cradle of astronauts and the cradle of quarterbacks. What other places can say that? But you always have to think, well, we had a great, great legacy, but we can never just sit back and say, all right, we have it all now. We don't have to work as hard today, right? And if you think about our academic excellence at scale, yes, as of this moment, we still have a top 4 men's basketball team. And I
Yeah.
know March is going to be a great month for our men and women's basketball teams, both Big Ten tournament and NCAA tournaments. We also have a top 4 college of pharmacy in the country,
Yeah.
college of agriculture, college of engineering. We have #1 agricultural biological engineering. We have #1 semiconductor research and education efforts. So none of that can be sustained or can be advanced if we sit back and relax. So, every morning is a new day, it's a new game. We got to redouble the effort.
Yeah. I think maybe you can go into the men's basketball locker room today and give them that speech and tell them as they move forward that's a big part about what this is all about.
Hey, Matt is going to do the best job possible. I don't need to be there, although I do enjoy watching all the games, and I had the pleasure to be introduced, I guess, at a
Yeah,
home.
what was that like? I mean, had a wild standing ovation. I mean, it was as raucous as the rest of the crowd for that game. That had to feel great.
Well, it felt great, and I tell you, it felt great, and I really appreciate. I don't know who triggered the standing ovation, but I also have to say that I was almost tempted to stay behind and tried a 3-pointer. Had I stayed behind, we might have lost the game. So I'm glad I quickly got off the court and back to my seat to watch the rest of the game, which we went on to win that home game.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, last question on Ryan Walters. Obviously,
yes,
hired a couple of weeks before you took the job officially, but you certainly were involved. Again, one of your roles is you've got to be a great evaluator. You've got to be able to measure people and understand what they're about. What's been your impression of him? He's got a big job ahead, as does any coach in college football these days. But what's your impression of Ryan? What do you like about him?
So first of all, I'm so glad that Mike Bobinski and Mike Berghoff, chair of the board of trustees, along with my predecessor, Mitch, they were able to quickly recruit such an outstanding talent as Ryan. Now, clearly, Ryan's record as on the defense side with Illinois is fantastic. And ever since that announcement back in early December, I've had quite a few chances to sit down next to him and next to his family. And I am just so impressed by the way that he thinks about the game and the way that he's been able to recruit already so far over the past 2 months. And when we were together with alumni down in Naples, Florida, just last week, he was there too. His family was there too. And I think all of them shared my enthusiasm, just as did Mitch and Mike Babinski and Mike Berghoff. That we feel very, very good, very confident that Ryan is going to take the Boilermakers to win after win in the coming season. So get your ticket early.
Yeah. You are the youngest president in the AAU, I believe. He's one of the youngest coaches in college football. That doesn't matter, does it? In terms of age, I mean, it's about getting the job done.
Yeah. Well, hey, first of all, this job has aged me tremendously in less than 2 months. So I'm much older than I look already. No, but in all seriousness, I don't know, but maybe among the current AAU university presidents and chancellors, I don't know about the whole history, last century. I might be the youngest one to have become the president. It's a huge honor at whatever age level to serve a great institution such as Purdue. Now, we have just tremendous talent. That's the key, right? Always comes down to the who before the what. Who are the talents that a institution, whether it's football, basketball, research and teaching and learning, who are the talents that you can attract, recruit, and retain? And how do we recognize them and support them? That really is the fundamental job there. And we are blessed at Purdue to have great teams through and through.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time. We'll make this an annual event if we can get on your calendar, which we appreciate your time so much. And I know that athletics is a great way to speak to some of the most passionate people about Purdue University, and it's very clear that you're going to want to do that. So thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we'll see you in Mackey Arena and Ross H. Stadium and other places, hopefully before long. But we appreciate
every team, every sports. You're going to see me. And Alan, anytime you have time on your outstanding Gold and Black Live show for me, I'll be there.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds great. Thanks so much for your time, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks.
We'll be back in segment 2. We're going to have Hall of Fame weekend, by the way, and then of course Walter Jordan and Stuart Schweigert will join us. But again, thanks to President Mung Chiang for joining us. We'll be back in 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.